stuck in the box, so now listen. The way you pitching, you gon' need more than a mound visit. You sound timid and I don't kick it with round midgets that have.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, the season premiere of 3 Count Commentaries, in which we will be talking about the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments. So let's start right there with the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments, which they've begun. So the brackets were not released until the show actually started. The King of the Ring is very interesting. Has some really good matchups on it. There was a really good match on Smackdown. 2 really good matches on Smackdown. Rey Mysterio and Sami Zayn, Cesaro and Finn Balor. On Monday will be Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal and Xavier Woods versus Ricochet. So I'm really looking forward to this tournament. And so far, just the bracket is really good. Now, I would have liked to be able to sit down and do, to guess about, hey, this is what could happen. These are the people who are going to be in it. This could be fun, yada, yada, yada. But because the bracket was thrown right at us and then the match happened, we didn't have much time to sit down and be fun and come up with fantasy booking plans outside of the potential Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods match, which, a lot of people are looking at like, ooh. But I think that if that match were to happen, it would more than likely end up like the Usos and New Day from a while back, where it'd just be like Kofi voluntarily stepping down or voluntarily getting out of the way so that Woods can go forward. Even though it wouldn't be a babyface thing to do, because it would basically be giving Woods a bye. So that's the reason why I kind of thought about that at first. And I was like, okay, man, they can have a friendly match where they don't throw punches and they don't throw kicks, and they could just work a regular kind of babyface match. It's possible, but I also think it's a good idea for Ricochet to go forward, and I don't mind the idea of Jinder Mahal going forward. Interestingly enough, in this tournament, they have the modern day Maharaja. Maharaja means king, right? And Finn Balor calls himself the prince. So we got some of that going on here, and that's nice. That's not too bad. But I think the Raw side of the bracket is very interesting, especially because we already know the SmackDown side. I'll get into that in a minute. Also, to continue with that theme, Rey Mysterio means King of Mystery. Rey means king in Spanish. So we got some, every match except for Xavier Woods. Well, Ricochet calls himself King Ricochet on like Twitter and stuff. So everybody pretty much got the some royalty somewhere in their gimmick, except Ricochet, who added it to himself outside the fact. But he played Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, right? All right, so let's talk about the Raw side before I start talking about the SmackDown matches. So, Jinder Mahal versus Kofi Kingston. This could be a fairly decent match. I think you would probably put Jinder over here in order to avoid the New Day wrestling each other. I know a lot of people are they're really fired up by that potential matchup to have Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods. I just think you should avoid it. Personally, I think you should avoid it. I just don't really see how it really benefits for you to have the two guys wrestle each other. Sure, again, you could have a friendly match in which Xavier Woods wins, but I think you should avoid it. So I think Jinder should definitely beat Kofi. And Xavier Woods versus Ricochet, that could be a very good match. I think that's going to probably be the sleeper match of the tournament. I think if you look at the bracket, that would probably be the match you would probably think would be the third best match. But I think if they really get some time to go and to do their thing, they could probably have one of the better matches in this tournament. If Ricochet had any momentum whatsoever, it would be easier to think that he would win. But if the booking of the women's tournament is any indication of how they're going to book the men's side of this tournament, the men's tournament, then Ricochet definitely going to beat Xavier Woods, and Jinder Mahal will beat Kofi Kingston. But it seems like they're going the logical route with the men. And the logical route would necessitate Xavier Woods beating Ricochet in a very close match that, they probably end the match with a handshake and respect, while Kofi Kingston had to fight the evil Jinder Mahal, who's going to have Shanky in his corner, so Kofi won't look too bad with Shanky getting interfering. And then, of course, you have Veer and Shanky versus Jinder Mahal and not Veer and Shanky, but Shanky and Jinder versus the New Day. That could be interesting too. So I think that's where you go. I think you have Jinder, Xavier in the tournament. Now the SmackDown side of the tournament was decided on obviously on SmackDown. Sami Zayn versus Rey Mysterio. And you know, Rey Mysterio is phenomenal. He is 46 years old. And he did this flippity-doo over the top rope into the Hurricane Rana. Something I haven't seen him do since 1997. You know, like, I've seen Ray just, I don't know what they're doing with the stem cells in his knees, but it's working, right? He looks really good. And Sami Zayn, of course, is really fantastic at the pro wrestling. I really like that they tied the story into this. Sami Zayn telling Dominic earlier that he made the right decision by not coming out there. And that it's time for him to be his own man, that he's better than Ray is. So, you know, that gave Dominic some confidence, so he comes out there. He kind of gets in the way, you know, as Sami Zayn took the ring apron off, he took the whole ring apron off. He took the turnbuckle off. Then Dominic tries to put it back. He ends up getting in the way. Ray is like, no, get out of here. Vamonos. That leads to the old push into the manager on the ring apron. They fall down, roll up, pinfall. Sami Zayn wins. This was a big surprise. I didn't think Sami Zayn would win, but they're really doing something good here with Sami Zayn and the Mysterios. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully it's not over anytime soon. Considering Sami Zayn is not going to Saudi Arabia, I would thought they would got him out of this tournament really fast due to the Syrian Saudi Arabia. I don't know what you want to call it. They don't necessarily get along, even though they're Muslims. They don't necessarily get along. I think even teasing Sami Zayn going to Saudi Arabia is a little ridiculous. They could just, they have a perfect out right here and just have him lose right here. But he's going to be wrestling Finn Balor next week. So that means we got to talk about Finn Balor versus Cesaro. So a tremendous match between Cesaro and Finn Balor, which was essentially the in-ring main event of SmackDown. Two baby faces go in there, hard-hitting match. It delivered. It reminded me a lot of some of the fare that Finn Balor would do in NXT. High energy. The fans wanted both guys to win. You know, nobody would have minded if Cesaro had won the match. I don't think anybody would have minded. But Finn Balor winning was awesome. Finn Balor winning was great. I could see him going a long way in this tournament. Of course, I see him going a long way because his opponent is Sami Zayn. Like I said, Sami Zayn is not going to Saudi Arabia. It ain't happening. I would definitely be surprised if Sami Zayn ever steps foot in Saudi Arabia. He's probably going to do another Sami for Syria thing and completely avoid the Saudi Arabian issue completely. But it's very good. Now, of course, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura was the king of the ring. He relinquished the crown. I would have liked for them to do that on TV, or at least do that once the new king is crowned, rather. Also, they didn't mention that anybody gets anything from winning this tournament, other than to be the prestigious king of the ring. And that's fine and all, but let's get to this idea of title shots and things that matter for people who win tournaments. Okay, let's get to that. So the men's tournament is pretty well set. Finn Balor is going to go from the SmackDown side because I'm almost certain Sami Zayn is not going to Saudi Arabia. Who's going to come out of the Raw side is likely going to be Xavier Woods. I think there's going to be a natural grassroots push for Xavier Woods because he really wanted this. He's been talking about this for like 3 or 4 years, wanting to be the king of the ring. And I think that they want to let it happen for him. They're gonna throw some stuff in his way. Like I said, his match with Ricochet should be pretty good. Match with Jinder Mahal should be pretty solid. I look forward to really good stuff there. Now let's talk about this Queen's Crown tournament, because this thing went off the rails. Match number 1. But first, we got to talk about the brackets. So the SmackDown side features Zelina Vega versus Toni Storm, Liv Morgan versus Carmella. The Raw side features Doudrop versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke. Now, the women's tournament had a lot of story built into it. For instance, Liv Morgan and Carmella have had long histories. Then you also had Zelina Vega, who has been a running buddy of Carmella in recent weeks. That could have been an interesting story of Liv Morgan have to go through Carmella and then go through Carmella's friend. On the other end, you have Shayna Baszler, who's been breaking arms recently, and she tried to break Dana Brooke's arm last week, and now she's going to get the opportunity to do it again in the tournament. And Doudrop, who saved Dana Brooke last week, is going to be they've already had their stare down, the Shayna Baszler and Doudrop. So that's when I saw the bracket, I said to myself, I can dig, Toni Storm and Liv Morgan as the two coming out of the SmackDown side, and one of them going into the finals. And then they kicked me right in the balls because Toni Storm lost to Zelina Vega clean, as Zelina Vega counters a backslide into the code red. And I instantly saw a lot of people pitching a bitch. And I was shocked, to say the least. I was like, whoa. Now, you got to have surprises in these tournaments in order for these things to make sense. In order for them to be fun, you have to have surprises. Zelina Vega winning was a big surprise. I didn't see that coming at all. The promos before the match, where they both essentially cut the same promo. I'm going to rule with the blah, blah, blah of the WWE and the grace and beauty of WWE. Could you make it more scripted? That it cut the same promo in the same style? What kind of horseshit is that? I didn't get it. It didn't make sense to me. Tony losing didn't bother me too much because I know Zelina has to win at some point. And I thought that it would, again, my thinking of this tournament is when Zelina beat Tony, it's like, okay, Liv Morgan's going to have to beat Carmella and Zelina Vega. Boom. Instantly done. It's a story that writes itself. Carmella and Zelina Vega have been associates within the last couple of weeks. Oh, wait a minute. Liv Morgan lost too. Okay. I wasn't nearly as kicked in the dick about it as a lot of the Liv Morgan fan base, who have been really pitching a bitch lately. They're really unhappy because they teased, and WWE did do this. They did tease Liv Morgan winning Money in the Bank, and then they ripped that away from him and gave it to Nikki. That made no sense, but they did it. They didn't really they didn't really tease Liv Morgan winning. That wasn't WWE's doing, because they didn't put the bracket out until the matches started. So it was the fans. They had this old headcanon that they had created in their minds, like, oh, Liv Morgan's going to win the tournament, because who else could it be? Bianca's not going to be in it. Sasha's not going to be in it. Charlotte's not going to be in it. Becky's not going to be in it. The only other option you have is Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax is off TV. Even Marie's off TV. Mandy Rose is in NXT. Who else could it be? Who else is... you're not going to give it to Natalya, for Christ's sake. You're not giving it to Tamina. Shotzi's not going to get it. Tegan Nox is not going to get it. So who's going to get it? So obviously it's probably going to be Liv Morgan, who would probably be the highest of the remaining people left. And then they beat her in the first round with Carmella wearing a silly mask. And then they went from she lost to that the match was only like 2 minutes. I think it was like 90 seconds actually. And that was from bell to bell, of course. Sometimes they've had to factor in entrances and Carmella getting her mask put back on, which is really weird that people are flipping out about Carmella's mask. It's like, you literally just saw Rey Mysterio wrestle in a mask. So why is everybody flipping out because Carmella put a mask on? I did enjoy that it got heat, though. My only problem with Liv Morgan losing is that it's 50-50 booking, because she beat Carmella. I think she beat Carmella twice already. Like, no, she beat Carmella at the pay-per-view. And then Carmella, debuted the mask last week and beat Liv Morgan up. And then she just beats her in a match this week. So I was just kind of like, I mean, it's still some story there because you have Zelina Vega and Carmella, who again have been associates. So, but they're both heels. So, like, who are the fans supposed to cheer in that situation? Carmella is annoying, and Zelina Vega is less annoying than Carmella, but she's been Carmella's sidekick for a while now. So that's not very good booking. It doesn't make much sense to do it that way, but they did it that way, and that was very weird. I really want to sit down and ask them why. To me, one of the baby faces should have went for it. It didn't matter which one it was. It could have been Tony, could have been Liv. The bottom line is one of the baby faces needed to go forward, as far as I'm concerned. Because now you asking the fans to basically not care for this next match. Zelina Vega is hasn't won a lot of matches. She doesn't get a lot of promo time, and she's not a baby face. Carmella gets a lot of TV time, but she's a heel, and she's one of the top heels. She's like the third top heel on the roster, maybe fourth. I don't know, but they have a chance to save it with the Raw side. Natalia's definitely going to lose. If Natalya beats Doudrop, I have no earthly idea like who would be booking this tournament. If Natalya beats Doudrop, I don't see that happening. And Shayna Baszler losing to Dana Brooke, I mean, I would flip tables if that happens. I may actually flip a table if that happens. So I don't think that will actually occur either. So I think it's safe to say, looking at the bracket of who remains, Shayna Baszler is going to win the tournament. And I'm good with that because she calls herself the Queen of Spades and she needs a push. And winning this tournament will be a great push for Shayna Baszler. If we're going to push her to the main event. I think she's moving to Smackdown, right? So there's likely going to be a babyface champion on Smackdown, or are we going to go with, and some people have said that Shayna Baszler is a heel, that she's actually the babyface, but no, she's breaking people's arms post-match. The interesting thing about that is, because she busted up the arm of Eva Marie and Nia Jax, both people who the fans dislike, there were people cheering that. And WWE had to pipe in boos. They piped in like Thunderdome boos to get so that people could be like, we have to retrain the audience that just because you don't like Eva Marie doesn't mean that you should be cheering that this happens to her. So I don't consider Shayna Baszler a tweener or a baby face at all. She's a heel, but I don't like the idea that there are no pure baby faces left outside of Doudrop, pure baby faces that are a threat. Dana Brooke is not a threat, and she's also whatever. She's barely on the roster as it is. So the tournaments are a good idea. How they're shaking out, though, the King of the Ring is shaking out pretty well. The Rey Mysterio Sami Zayn match ruled. It was really good. The Finn Balor Cesaro match was excellent. It was great stuff. Of course, if they had been given pay-per-view level time and a babyface and a heel and a storyline, it would have been so much better. But that match was very good as well. Of course, I'm still steaming that they have not mentioned at all the ropes breaking against Roman Reigns. I cannot believe we have had Finn Balor on screen now, and he does not talk about the top rope breaking. And to make the things even worse, he wins his match with the coup de grace. The move where the rope broke. I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, that's incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. So now that's my guess. My guess is that Shayna Baszler is going to win on the women's side. So who's going to win on the men's side? I think that your choices are surely Finn Balor and Xavier Woods. And if it were me, I would go with Finn Balor. Because, to be quite honest, well, what I would do, and this is how I would put it together. This is just pure headcanon, pure fantasy booking. Is I would turn heel Finn Balor in that match. Because Finn Balor is going to Raw. And Xavier Woods is going to SmackDown. So what I would do is I would have Finn Balor turn heel on Xavier Woods. And that be his big push to go against Big E. Is that he healed on Woods and he doesn't give a damn about Woods. And Big E wants to settle the score. You know? And I think that would be a great storyline. And we could build it up from Finn Balor continuously being cheated, screwed over, kicked around, and he's tired of it. He's not going to let anything else be taken away from him. So he's going to take the King of the Ring from Xavier Woods. He's going to crush his dream. And WWE is the kind of place where you can talk all day about your dreams. They will step on them and put them underneath their boots. Which is why you should probably never tell anybody in WWE what your dreams actually are. They will purposely go out of their way to kill them. And I think just because Xavier Woods has been pushing for it so hard, and they know that there's a certain subsection of the fan base that is really looking forward to him winning this tournament, that's like when they have people get beat in their hometown. That's they're licking their chops at the heat that they could get by beating Xavier Woods in the finals. And I'm pretty sure they won't be able to resist that. You know, I don't think anybody would boo if Finn Balor won without cheating, though. That's why I say he had to turn heel. Because Finn Balor is pretty well liked. If it was a fair match and Xavier Woods lost, most people are just going to be like, oh, okay, well, whatever. So I think Finn Balor has to win. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.